You want to burp the baby to avoid gas in their digestive system. There's different ways you can do that. One of them is, you want to show?
So you can always burp this way. This can be really effective. However, if the baby's going to spit up, it's going to be in your shoulder and your hair.
And down your back.
And down your back. So one of the things a lot of people will do is they will sit the baby on their lap and they'll put the baby's chin in the webbing of their hand and burp them this way. Okay. Now you have to be careful that they don't squirm and fall backwards. But if you lean them forward a little bit and you burp them, this tends to be really effective because they're sitting upright. You're also able to see their face and see their facial reactions so you can talk to them and have some eye contact at the same time. The third option and the least effective is to lay the baby across your lap and to burp them this way. But this is less effective than the others because the baby's not sitting upright. And we all know if we're going to pass gas that sitting up is usually the way to go. So I might suggest that you try this one and see how it works. And then you could always, if you do have a baby that spits up, put like a towel or a burp rag over your hand so that the baby doesn't make a huge mess if they're going to spit up.
Be mindful where at on your shoulder too, because if you have him up and his stomach's against your shoulder, that could also cause more spit up because there's more pressure to the stomach. So just keep that in mind as well. And then never, even with breastfed babies, never prop a bottle. Always hold the baby during the feeding. Not only is this helping with the attachment and bonding, but propping a bottle, first of all, they can choke. If they do spit up, they've got something in the way, so they can't get it out. And also, it can cause tooth decay, and ear infections, especially if they're back, because then that milk's just going to go back into their ear canal.
Y'all talked about that.
We did. So this is just listing it again, actually talking about each one. So it is in your packet, and we did talk about this earlier. So stimulating your baby's brain. So parents are the baby's first teachers. So remember that you're teaching your baby everything they need to know to get them through life. So brain stimulation is how the babies learn. Without touch stimulation and nurturing, children can lose the capacity to form any meaningful relationships. These are the children that you see that their parents weren't very attached to them, and later on in life, they're less trusting, they don't have a lot of friends. Antisocial, they cause problems with authority because they never really learned to respect it because their parents weren't there for them. So talk to your baby, play with your baby, sing and dance with your baby. Be silly. Do not be afraid to be like, oh, there's my little baby. I see parents when I go to visit, sometimes they're like, well, I don't want to talk to my baby like that.
How did we miss reading to your baby?
Well, I just didn't.
And reading to your baby.
I know, I'm just saying, like, how did that one get missed?
We usually suggest at
teacher
least,
missed it, right?
we suggest that you read to your baby at least once a day.
I have tons of books at home already.
I know, this is very, very good.
I wasn't just preaching to you. I know it seems like I always talk to you guys, but you guys are like right across from me, so I have to remember to look toward you.
Yeah, I was having the same trouble with you at the last class. I kept trying to talk to you. Yeah, it's
just
okay.
a habit.
Yeah.
But just remember, it's okay to be silly. Don't worry about what anybody else says. And if anything, people actually think it's cute. So like, oh, look at them talking to their baby. So don't be afraid to do it. And especially not in front of us, because this is what we do. And if we don't see you doing that, we get a little concerned, like, you should be talking to your baby like this. So other things to consider, you want to find a pediatrician that you trust. So if you haven't already started looking, you need to start looking. You can call them, ask them questions over the phone. Depending on the pediatrician, they might even offer what they call a prenatal appointment, where at the end of the day, on a certain day of the week, they set aside time for pregnant moms to come in and talk to them. And you can set up an appointment that way. Not all of them, but some of them do. That way you can make sure that they're on the same page. It's very important that you pick one. If you're breastfeeding, you want somebody that's going to support your breastfeeding. You want them to have the same views as you. So ask them if you don't plan on immunizing, which we suggest you do, but if that's something that's a big concern to you, you want to ask them, how do you feel about that? Are they going to be pushy about that? How, are they available after hours? What is their after hours line number? Do they offer things like that?
I say that.
Okay. Also, you might want to start with your insurance. Because if you have a particular plan or you're using Medicaid, you're going to need to make sure that provider is going to be able to use that form of insurance.
Exactly. That's usually the first question you're going to ask when you call them. Do you accept Stay-Well? And if they say no, you're like, oh, okay, check. Next one, please.
Do you guys, by any chance, or are you even allowed to offer up a list of recommended
We can give you a list
pediatricians?
of all of them in the area, but
Yeah.
we cannot give you
I know Leesburg Regional has a list, so I might assume Waterman does too.
It's just tough for us since we kind of just moved into the area. Like, we don't have like family to refer to be like, what do you think about this pediatrician?
Do you guys have Facebook?
Yeah.
Support groups on Facebook, mom to mom support groups or parent to parent support groups. Ask them what their experience are. I see it on Ocala, word of mouth all the time. I'm looking for a pediatrician. Please give me your positive and negative experiences with each. And then they kind of go from there and see what other people say, because word of mouth is going to be better than anything we can say, because, well, excluding you because you have children, we can't tell you, like, oh, this pediatrician's great, because we never actually
Right.
use it.
We do have friends, like coworkers that use pediatricians, but it'd be nice to get.
You can
More
also
than just the
do
one that they
like
use.
Yelp or Health Grades, Angie's List, any of those kind of review sites might be a good resource as well.
So you definitely want honest reviews. So,
Right.
and then also keep in mind that they could be skewed as well, because if I'm the type of person that I go to a pediatrician or a doctor and they do one thing that makes me mad and all of a sudden they're off my list, I might not be a good, and you don't know that from people you're reading
Right.
offline. It
Right.
might not be a good way to view if that doctor's good. So, all right, so stay up to date with your well baby checkup. So you want to definitely make sure you're attending all of those. That's going to be like at the 2 month, they're going to do the first real batch of immunizations, and then they'll want you to stay on track, and it's very important for you to stay on track with all of that. Ask for help when you need it. Worst thing that somebody can say is no. So if you need help, maybe doing the laundry and you call your friend and you're like, hey, can you come help me? Like, it's just, I'm overwhelmed. If they say no, that's okay, but a lot of times they're gonna be like, oh yeah, sure, I can come over in an hour. Hold the baby, never throw or shake the baby. Wait at least 18 to 24 months or 2 years before having another baby. Rest, eating, and bonding should be the primary focus for new parents and the baby. And then you can't spoil a baby. So if the baby cries, it's for a reason. Pick up, hold that baby as much as you want. Safety is always first, so make sure your home is properly child protected. Rear facing car seat until the baby is at least 1 year old. We say as long as possible. As long as the seat is going to allow it, that baby should be rear facing.
We're talking 3 and 4 year olds rear facing. It is safer.
Yes, it's the safest because of structurally, and when she goes over the car seat with you, you'll learn more about that. Me with you as well. Always test the temperature of water and food, so that's including if you're using a bottle. Of course, you never want to heat it up in the microwave, but even if you're heating it up in a warmer or just warming it up under the faucet, you want to test it on your elbow first, or your wrist, the inside of your wrist. Smoke-free environment, very important. If there is somebody that smokes that wants to hold that baby, I don't care if it's a friend that just so happens to stop by. They need to change their shirt, they need to wash their arms, they need to wash their face. Like, it's very important that they don't transfer those chemicals to your baby. Avoid sun exposure if possible. Always be aware of around waters and liquids. This includes your coffee cup on your kitchen table or your coffee table. If that baby's crawling and moving, they can easily grab that cup. Not only is that cup going to probably hit them, but if it's hot, it's going to burn them.
One of the big ones I would say is a dog bowl. You're going to have to figure a way to keep her completely away from your dog's water bowl.
And food, because you don't want them to eat the dog food.
Yeah, that too.
And then baby proof your home. Call the doctor if anything that bothers you. Anything that bothers you is important to your child's pediatrician. So if you feel like there's something wrong, if you have a question, whatever it might be, call your pediatrician. A lot of times, the people on whoever answers the phone will take your question down and they'll call you back within 24 hours with an answer. If they think it's very important, they might tell you to come in right away, or they might tell you to go straight to the hospital. So definitely call them if you have any concerns. If there's a fever over 100.2 degrees rectally, you want to call them. Not gaining weight if you have any concerns about weight gain. Excessive vomiting, especially if it's forceful. Not interested in eating, irritability or lethargy. Lethargy. Unusual skin rashes. So anything that's a change in your baby. So you're going to be with your baby all the time. So if you notice any changes, you want to take them in, call them and take them in right away.
Yeah, I knew we were getting there. I knew it.
So please complete your training evaluation. Our
I'm gonna turn the lights on.
Complete. Make sure that you have your next visit scheduled. Sandra, I have my visit scheduled with you next